Okay, so we recently got back from our Florida trip, and yeah, we had a great time checking out two of the haunt events that we've always wanted to go to, specifically HHN. We've always said that we were going to go to this and just never got around to it until this year. And I think it was a pretty solid year to go for the first time. The original houses were really good. The IP houses were decent. The scare zones might have been a little bit hit and miss, but other than that, I think it was a pretty solid year. I think instead of walking you through the whole night like I did in the previous video, I think for this one I'm just going to rank the scare zones and houses throughout the video and do the scores after each one. I feel like since there are so many houses and scare zones at HHN, it's probably easier to just format the video that way. So without further delay, let's get right into it. So first up we have Club Horror, which I kind of feel like should be considered like an honorable mention and not even in the ranking, because it wasn't really even a scare zone. It was just a DJ and some dancers, and I felt like this was just like an excuse to have an extra venue to sell drinks. Mel's Die-In Zombies was a good concept, but it was lacking set pieces and theming, and there weren't really as many actors as you might expect. So yeah, this one's definitely one of the weaker scare zones. Origins of Horror served as the entrance area for this year's HHN, and yeah, I thought this was a pretty good one. The statues for each house was a cool feature, and they had some chainsaw people, and yeah, it was pretty good. We got the Masquerade Dance of Death right near the end of the night, and there weren't any actors out, but judging by the set pieces that were still there and the lighting and everything, I do feel like this was probably one of the more immersive of the scare zones. And yeah, I mean, I looked up videos of other people's visits to HHN, and yeah, this did look like a pretty good one, so I'm gonna give this one a good 7.6. Mutations Toxic 20s had a lot going for it, a lot of stuff going on, lots of actors, lots of set pieces, and yeah, just a really great theme, and pretty much had like Tromaville vibes, like B-movie, that kind of stuff. Definitely a really good style and theme. And the top scare zone of the night was definitely the Cat Lady of Crooked Lane. They had a really good theatrical performance with the Cat Lady character, and yeah, she was turning trick-or-treaters into these mutant cats, and the cat costumes were actually really good, and a lot of different types of cats, breeds of cats, and yeah, this forest that you walk through with all the jack-o'-lanterns and the trees was really cool. And they had these side plaques telling the story of the scare zone, so yeah, I thought this was pretty much like everything you'd want in a scare zone. Now on to ranking the houses from worst house to best house. Honorable mention goes to Fallout, because it's the only one that we didn't actually have time to do. We did manage to do the other 9 houses though, and yeah, we didn't have Express, so we just managed to do 9 of them, so I feel like we did pretty good for not having Express. The worst house of the night was definitely Jason Universe, and definitely the biggest disappointment. The theming was very repetitive, and the scares were all the same. It was just like Jason the whole way through, just popping out everywhere. I mean, the scares were effective, but pretty repetitive. And all around, this house was just a really big disappointment if you're a Friday the 13th fan. In 8th place, we have Hatchet and Chains Demon Bounty Hunters. I thought this one was kind of like thematically disjointed, stylistically as well. I don't know, we did this one last, and I feel like there weren't as many actors as there should have been, so that might have had something to do with it. It just felt a little bit like the house was trying to be 3 different things at once, but it wasn't too bad. It was pretty decent. At number 7, we have the WWE Horrors of the Wyatt 6. I thought this one was pretty effective at being like scary, but unless you're a fan of WWE, you're probably not going to understand what's even going on in this house, which is fine. I mean, I don't think you need to like know the story of a house to enjoy it, but overall it's like not really my style, so I thought the sets were pretty well done and the actors were good and everything. It just wasn't my jam, really. From this point forward, it's a pretty far leap into really good territory, and Dolls Let's Play Dead is no exception. It was very well themed. The sets were amazing, like huge objects everywhere to make you feel like you're on the same scale as all of the dolls, and the style of the dolls was way better than I expected. Like if you look at the artwork and everything, like the promotional artwork, it makes it look more like Annabelle, like corny style dolls, but actually it was like more like toy dolls, like G.I. Joes and Barbies and stuff. So I thought the theme was really good. The actors were great. It was just a really good house. I feel like Grave of Flesh was probably the sleeper house of the night. I've seen that a lot of people rank this one pretty low, but I thought it was really good. The theme is really immersive. It's supposed to feel like you're like dead and you're under the ground, and there's like subterranean creatures and zombies and half decayed people. I just thought the sets, especially the beginning with the cemetery and you're going underneath graves, and I just thought that the setup to this one was really unique and I liked it a lot. On to number 4, we have Galkn, Monsters of the North. Definitely one of the most immersive of all the houses. Really good setup. You go through this town at the beginning that was taken over by these mythical creatures, and then really big animatronics of them at the end. There was a giant Wicker Man prop with projection mapping on it to make it look like it was on fire. I thought that was pretty cool. Great costumes, great theming, awesome props and animatronics, and just an overall really good house. Coming in at number 3 is Five Nights at Freddy's. Definitely the best sets and props of the night. The animatronics were really big and awesome, and a lot of them. And yeah, it was definitely a big surprise. The only thing holding it back a little bit from being the number 2 or number 1 spot is that there's no scares at all. But as an immersive and fun house, it's really good, and the animatronics are amazing. We gave the number 2 spot to Terrifier. I didn't actually personally get to experience this one because my daughter is like deathly afraid of Art the Clown, so she didn't really want to do this one, and she wanted to go get one of those Five Nights at Freddy's cupcakes, so I went along with her to do that while the rest of the group did this house, and they all said that it was either the best house or the second best house, so I'm just going to put it at number 2. But from what I heard, it's really well done, great sets, really scary, and yeah, I mean, even though the ending is supposed to be a little gimmicky with the wet path and all that stuff, apparently the Art the Clown actors are really good and the sets are amazing. And finally, at the number 1 spot is El Artista, A Spanish Haunting. This one had some of the best sets of any walkthrough I've ever been through. It was extremely immersive. The facade before you go in is like a big house. It was just amazing. They have a beginning and an end, like a beginning scene and an end scene that kind of like explains the story. I don't want to spoil it, so I'm not going to tell you what it is, but You know, by the time you get through the whole house, at the end, and you see the ending scene and see how it relates to the first scene that you see when you walk in, it kind of like explains the story. And a lot of the scenes were massive. There was a graveyard scene that was really cool. There was a guy on a zip line that went overhead, and just like a lot of really cool and stylistic props and actors, and everything about this house was just amazing. I just thought it was like one of the most unique and immersive houses I've ever done, and yeah, definitely one of the top houses I've ever been through. Out of the two shows at HHN, the one that we got to see some of was Hauntphonic, and I thought this one was okay. It was mostly just projections on fountains and audio and everything. The biggest problem with this show is that they had audio playing on the one side where we were standing. I guess it was part of the Toxic 20s scare zone, and it was so loud that you basically heard just that in your left ear and then the Hauntphonic audio in your right ear, and they were totally like not sounding good together at all. So I couldn't even like focus on one or the other. And I feel like if they're gonna have, you know, viewing areas for this show around this lagoon in the middle of the park, they should have isolated the audio for this show a little bit more so that anybody could stand to watch it around the lagoon and not hear other audio from the rest of the park. But yeah, I thought the show was kind of underwhelming in general. There wasn't really a lot going on other than fountains and projections. If we would have had a little bit more extra time in the night, we would have seen the Nightmare Fuel show as well. But you know, when you don't have express passes, you're pretty much pressed to do as many houses as you can, and you're extremely lucky if you get to do all 10. We did miss Fallout. That's the only house we missed, but overall I feel like we did pretty good. So yeah, we had a great first visit to HHN, and I feel like this was a really good year to experience it for the first time because it was a good mix of IP and good original houses. So yeah, definitely a great time. We'll definitely try to get back another year in the future, and hopefully the IPs will be a little bit better next time. None of us really were big fans of some of the IPs like Terrifier and stuff, but we still enjoyed all the IP houses. Like, all the houses are really good. Like, there really wasn't a bad one, and even though the scare zones were a little hit or miss, even the good scare zones were really good. So overall, like, a really good event, and I can see why everybody hypes this up as one of the best theme park haunts out there. So what did you think of our ranking? If you agree or disagree, let us know in the comments below. Keep an eye out for more haunt videos, and have one hell of a haunt season, and have fun.